I think like if you've been raised in a Christianity that is incredibly controlling, like this is when you're like, don't tell me I can't eat chocolate or red meat or whatever it is, or that I can't eat at all for how many days? And obviously if you were an ancient Jewish person, fasting was about food. It was about taking something that was more precious to them then than it is now. I don't know about you, but I throw away a lot of food, even though I try really hard to buy just what I need. We have an abundance. At that time, there was less of an abundance of food. And so abstaining from something that was really needed and sometimes you didn't know when it was going to come around again, was a real show that God was going to be first in your life. Fasting, simply put, is just a temporary abstention of something like food in order to intensify our expression of need for something greater, namely God and God's work in our lives. And so I know that during Lent, a lot of us wonder, like, do I not eat? Do I not only eat fish? What do I do here? And I think we can kind of look again at what are we relying on instead of giving attention and acknowledgement to God in this present moment. So perhaps that are things like our social media, fasting from social media, fasting from coffee at Starbucks. I read somewhere a woman this time, we have a laugh over here, fasting from Starbucks, that a person this Lent decided that she cared too much about what she wore, so she decided for 40 days she was going to keep it to 3 outfits, as a reminder of her need and desire for God and to acknowledge God within each present moment. So there are so many ways in which we can be creative in our practicing the presence of God, in our practicing this way of acknowledging God. And last week, Jason brought to us these 3 questions. Am I learning to value and cherish the goodness of God before all other things? Am I being careful about what I give my attention to? Am I being liberated from the obsession with wealth and status? Am I learning to let go of what I can't control? Am I learning to stop judging others as a form of control or as a distraction from my own insecurities? Am I learning not to impose my ways of knowing, sensing, and being on others? And am I learning to be persistent in good things and persevere through difficulty because I trust in the goodness of God? So what I'd like to do today is give you all some time to sit and look at these questions and then consider these 3 practices. And if a question pops out at you, look, just put a little color on the room today. You don't have to move a wall. Give yourself some time to look at one of these 7 questions. What's popping out for you? And then think about these practices, creatively thinking about these practices and acknowledging God in this present moment. And consider, what can I put with this question? If I want to be more aware of what I give attention to, what practice can I start with? Is there a form of fasting? Is there a form of prayer? Is there some way in which I can give that would help me answer this question more thoughtfully for myself? And therefore, I hope, make a change in our lives, make a change in our relationships. We don't come to church just to have a way of belief. We come to church to be a different way, to be stronger, more loving, more caring, more giving. And that is through practice. I shared a couple of weeks ago that my grandson Otis knows the word hot. So I'll point to the stove and I'll say hot, hot, and he'll go hot, hot. But the minute I open up the oven, he's running to the oven because he hasn't experienced hot. We can come and sit in these pews and know what I think or what Jason thinks and have what we think we believe. But practice is a whole nother world, right? If we practice, then we know in our hearts. I'm not supposed to touch that, sorry. We know we've actually experienced. And so today, I'm sure a lot of you experienced this throughout your life, but today I'd like to give you another chance. So we're just going to take about 2 minutes, and I'd like to give you the chance again to look at these questions. Pick one question, and then pick one practice that you think would be paired well for your life, kind of creating this space for you. So you can lower your gaze, look at your sheet, and just take a moment. And hopefully something has come to mind. Hopefully a practice has come to mind. And now you get the opportunity to get into groups of 4. And if you're comfortable, this is always an invitation, never a requirement. If you're comfortable, I would love for you to share your question and your practice with the others in your group. So we're going to take about 8 minutes. You'll each have about 2 minutes to share what question you picked, why you picked that question, and then what practice you feel might help you in having a different perspective or different space in being with that question that you chose. So go ahead and get in your groups. If you're online, you can make sure you're on a computer so that you can start typing in and chatting with one another. But get into a group. You can even try to go to somebody you don't know, like instead of being, okay, and we're just going to take about 8 minutes. So we have 2 more minutes, so hopefully you're about to hit your last person. Okay, I'm going to invite you guys to come back to the giving attention to the front. We have a very rowdy group over here. So hopefully you guys can continue the conversation after church. I love doing this because, like I said, everybody's tired on Sunday morning, but anytime we get together, and I have a few people that are always like, are we doing this? Especially new people. And then we get back to forward facing, and you guys are all smiling. It's amazing what community does for us. So we're going to give a few of you an opportunity to maybe share something that you heard that was interesting to you or something that you learned without outing the other person's what they shared. So you don't have to say, well, Joey said that he has a really hard time. So I was in my own little group, and one of the things that I personally heard was that this person had a hard time, had chosen to look at where he gets his attention. And he said that he was having a hard time picking which practice because he felt like each practice kind of built on the other. So he said, I could start with fasting from, say, social media, but then I think I'm going to need prayer in order to remind myself to not get on social media and ask for help. And then I also think that I am going to need to replace that time that I'm spending with what I give my attention to by giving my attention to something else that is going to be better for me. And so I think that the beautiful thing about these practices is they really do kind of build on one another. So I've got Finn with a microphone, and I would love for a couple of you to take a minute and share if there was something that you heard that taught you something today from your community. So, anyone want to go second? I went first. Does anyone want to go second? I can wait. All right, we've got somebody here. Corey.
Good morning, everyone. I think we'll see a lot of, I'm just going to guess at this point, a lot of people who struggle with the same thing as far as attention. There's a theme in our group as far as some of us have social media issues, some of us have, what we give our attention to as far as the news, ability to control things that we can control and trying to do so. And I personally had a combination of all three of those things where I am obsessive this whole week as far as like Super Tuesday and the State of the Union and all these other things going on, not to mention the regular craziness as far as if they're going to pass, a resolution to fund the government. And these are all things that I was obsessing about, but I can't control any of them, but I give my time to them. And we talked a lot about a combination, like you said, some people were going to fast, some people were going to give their time, and some people were going to pray. And we found the same thing, that, you could use prayer to help strengthen your ability to fast, or you could give and help realize that by giving something away, you didn't really need it in the first place, and you're fasting yourself from that thing. They're all really interconnected, but I think that the thread of attention, what we give our attention to, what we give our time to, is so important and difficult for us to manage, as far as wanting to be the light in the world and be the salt of the earth. But what can we control? Do we try to be the salt of the earth in Israel, or do we try to be the salt of the earth here in Oceanside? And what impacts that have for us? So,
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you so much. And so there are so many things that want to take our attention, and so much of it is bright and shiny and blue lit behind us that it is sometimes really hard, and the state of the world. And wanting to give something to it and feel that we have some kind of control, and our own frustration, but not knowing what to do. And I think, again, acknowledging God in that moment is something. Yeah. Anybody else have something that they can share? Missy.
Good morning. I'm going to share about myself, if that's okay.
Of course.
So for me, it was, there's certainly, I totally agree with Corey that there's so many things on there. It's like, yes, 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 yes. For me, the challenge comes from control. What was it exactly? To let go of the things I can't control. Letting go of the things I can't control without becoming apathetic. In other words, I can say, I can't control this thing, and I can just walk away and say, well, I don't care about it anymore, and that's my way of letting go of the control. But is that really? For me, the answer is no. How can I care without trying to control? For me, that's the challenge.
And did you find a practice that went along with that?
It's taking a gigantic, huge breath, a couple of them, and prayer for me.
Prayer. Yeah. So that was my exact one, control and prayer. So I'm with you. We have time for one more. Does anyone else want to share? All right, CJ in the back.
Good morning, everybody. My name's CJ. I think the one thing we love about church is constant
Just talk loud.
Yeah, the constant encouragement of just a reminder of investing in others and investing in our community, and a constant reminder to love people around us. And we kind of started spinning off on number 7, and just trusting in a good God through those constant weekly reminders. And when we invest in people and that investment selfishly doesn't work out, or this person doesn't want to be loved, or that person passes away before we could continue that investment and all the time and energy within that relationship, and then just being able to still understand, is this God that we're talking about really a good God?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked a little bit about that.
And did you guys come up with a practice that would help enforce that in any way or reinforce that?
No, your tongue's got short now.
I'm sorry.
It was good. We were going.
I love it. I love number 7. So, again, I just want to encourage you, again, in a very practical way, to spend time as we come upon Easter in reflection on how we can answer these questions and how we can take small steps in practice, things that are adding something in or taking something away, that will bring us closer to God and closer to each other and community. Not just what we know in our heads, but really bringing it down to where we are in our hearts. And so, I'll share that one practice that is really helpful for me. I was going to do it at night, but I ended up doing it in the morning because I fall asleep, is to just savor the day before. So whether you're great at night in thinking about your day, where did I feel closer to God? Where did I feel further from God? Where can I have gratitude for the day? Just such a simple practice of breathing in and breathing out and considering where God is in your present moment. And so I hope that just a very practical way of doing this. I would love for us to continue on the Lent blog. So there's a blog going on right now where we're hearing about what you're doing, maybe what you gave up for Lent, maybe share about your 7 questions, or CJ, if you ever come to an answer on number 7, get on the block so we can hear it. And before Joey sings our last song, I'm going to invite us to do what we sometimes do, which is just a group prayer. So we've been learning from one another. So today we have a one-word prayer, and we see how our community comes together, and this one-word prayer from each of us turns into a beautiful sentence and statement to God. So if you are willing to just lower your gaze or close your eyes and just turn your heart towards prayer and towards acknowledging God this morning, feel free to just clearly and loudly speak out one word that comes to you in prayer. And God, we ask that these one singular words would be music to your ears. Love. It's okay, can I hear this one again over here? Connection. Enough.
Revival.
Forgiveness.
Play.
Presence.
God, hear these words. Hear our hearts. If you'd like to stand, you can sing with us this final song.
Church, we have a choice. We could just sit and wait for all of His goodness. We could hold on to the things that bring us to joy. We could choose to reject this gift of peace, or we could be safe in God's arms. And Jill's gonna help us with it.
I could just sit and wait for all your goodness, hope to feel your presence. I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel something better.
Sing with us, church.
And I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I could be safe here in your arms and never leave, never let me fall down. But you have brought me higher, you have brought me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, God. You have brought me higher, you have brought me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, God. You lead me.
We're gonna sing the verse again. The one about holding on, or choosing to be safe. So I would love for you to sit with us as we sing the last verse. Let's pray. Let's take God's presence. Help us sing.
I can hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I can be safe here in your arms and never leave, never let me fall down. But you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me, God. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. God, you will lead me. I will be yours. I will be yours for all my life.
Sing that with us. Let me hear your voice. Say, I will be yours.
I will be yours for all my life.
Yes, let me hear you sing.
I will be yours. I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy.
Come on, let's sing it one more time.
Oh, I will be yours. I will be yours for all my life. So let your mercy like the man before me. 'Cause you have called me
walking with us to cross is one of shedding burdens, of engaging deeply with God there and here and here, and letting go of the things that don't serve you, so that you know the journey with Christ. Very, very little. That's the good of the cross. May the peace of God be with you. Have a great Sunday. Bye, everybody. Take care.
You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me. You have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, God.